So Kamala, 18, 19 days now, no press events. I mean, since Biden dropped out and she became the presumptive nominee, now the nominee. Lots of controlled campaign events, though. Here's what her campaign put out. This graphic saying, look, she's doing all of these events and Donald Trump's only doing one. But Donald Trump has done tons of media availabilities, including one this afternoon. So which is the better strategy?
Well, according to polls, Kamala Harris's is. She is meeting with voters in 6 swing states this week. Donald Trump going to 0 swing states. Kamala Harris putting out social media content, meeting voters where they are. And the polls have completely swung away from Donald Trump. She is leading nationally in a number of polls we've gotten this week. And look, every time Donald Trump talks to voters or gives interviews, he does really badly. He went to the Association of Black Journalists event. He offended a number of people there, criticized Kamala Harris's background and race. Every time he goes out there, it doesn't help him. And look, if you are whining, you're losing. And the Trump-Vance ticket is whining about Kamala Harris not doing interviews because they are behind now and they know it. They are panicking.
I mean, that NABJ forum was, for the most part, pretty confrontational, though, I think you have to admit. So
you have choices about how to respond, John.
I saw Stephanie Grisham, who was the press secretary for a while, never did a press briefing, by the way, tweeted out that Trump is doing this because he's running scared.
The president's not running scared. The president has quite the record to run on. And he doesn't need my advice, but if he were seeking advice, as you go to this press conference this afternoon, you lay out, look, Joe Biden wasn't any better at articulating the message of what their policies were going to do. Why think Kamala Harris can do any better? That's why they're at 36% approval rating. Inflation is 20% under this administration. You have a border that is in chaos. Now, you contrast that with, if you remember my administration, we were working to get the border secure. If you want a secure border, I think I make a pretty compelling case. If we were to stop spending so much, we could help bring inflation down. That's not what has happened under Biden and Harris. If you want to keep the bipartisan tax cuts that happened during my administration, you're going to need me in office because the vice president is for getting rid of those. There's a very clear contrast. And if Republicans very calmly...
Do you think he's going to articulate that?
He's never shown himself capable of doing that.
He does do that in his speeches, if you listen to his speeches. Versus, now think about Kamala Harris, who goes to Pennsylvania. And she...
That's how you pronounce her name.
Oh, come on, you two.
It's always the interrupting that is the only way they get a message in here. But... I will say, having done a number of these segments with Marie, she's better articulating what they're for than they are for.
All right, well, let me interrupt for a second here because Van Jones, who you know,